Hey there YouTube, this is Super Fluffy Beast with my final installment of my Gravekeeper series. I'm switching over to plant synchros, but I'm going to run them as beast plants. I'm definitely going to want to get my hands on 2 Sniffus, 2 Raikos, and 1 Super Nimble Mega Hamster. I still need Titanial, 2 Lone Fire Blossoms, 2 Naturia Pineapples. I think I want to run 2. 1 Gigaplant, and I believe that's all I really need or want for it. 1 Naturia Cosmo Beat, and then a playset Naturia Cherries, but they aren't exactly on my high wants. Anyways, this is my just how to run this deck. It's a really fun deck when you can run it well, and I think it's definitely my best running deck so far. I actually made this build before the whole at YCS Atlanta topping came to be, and with Recruiter showing up, I was really happy, and so I started to main deck this. Anyway, this guy right here, he's gonna be one of your comp evacs. Right now I'm running I got that hollow, by the way, 7 tools. I'm trying to hollow out my deck. 2 comp evacs and a guard. That's when I go up against a Stardust or a Shooting Star Dragon, or just anything that can, actually cause damage when it's destroyed. I return it to hand and stop what they're doing. Guard, he's hard to get over for them, especially when Necro's on the field. But as a 19, he can return like Shuras and Boros and stuff, which is really cool. Yeah, he's definitely just something that you set down. You side him out almost every single match, because they're not going to expect it for the first game if you play it, if you get to that. I mean, this deck runs really quick, so if you get to it, you get to it. If you don't, you don't. Moving on, Descendant Recruiter plays. My favorite time to do that is when you set one of these bad boys. You set Spy. They attack into it. You don't, depending on what you have in hand, you want to summon one of these, special in one of the positions. If it's Recruiter, defense; if it's Descendant, attack. Because at that point, they're going to look to push over your stuff. Generally, you're going to want to get Recruiter, because if they Lightning Vortex, you can get Descendant to hand. But odds are you want to get Commandant to hand. The main goal of this deck is to keep recycling your Necro Valleys if they destroy them. Otherwise, just go straight Beat Stick on them. Don't be scared to jump at them. I mean, you got plenty to do, especially in the first game. That's all you want to do, is you want to just full force attack. Commandant, he's an Earth. He gets past Concentrated Light. He gets past Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors and stuff. It's perfectly fine to use him constantly. So he's your really good Beat Stick. He's 2100, 4 stars when Necro's on the field. And Recruiter, 3 stars, gets under Gravity Bind. It gets by a lot of stuff like that. Level Limit Area B, those kind of things. He can just push for 17 when they have nothing, and you never want to be scared when you have one of those on the field. He will recycle your cards like crazy. Spy. This card, basically, depending on the situation, it's the most versatile card in the game. It changes your game entirely in the blink of an eye. I use it in more decks than just this because of its +1 ability. I only run it in 2s in other decks, though. I've seen a Monarch deck that ran 3 Spies, and a Descendant, and a Commandant, and no Necros. And this was before Gravekeepers were big, and I was really just confused, because he also ran Light Sworns, and then he ran Quick Draw and Debris, and it was just a really confusing build. But anyway, Descendants, they're good. Commandant, he's explainable. Spy, Commandant, Assailant, ooh. If they attack into your Recruiter with something like, I don't know, anything really, I mean, a lot of monsters now don't have high defenses. You just assailant from your hand, and then attack it, switch it to defense, and destroy it. You get rid of their beat sticks, and when they're gaining attack, you're gaining attack and defense. So if they decide to do something to switch it to defense, like econ, you're perfectly fine. You don't have anything to worry about. Here's my favorite play of all right here. You start off with 6 cards in your opening hand, right? As long as you open up with a Necro or a Commandant and a Royal Tribute, you are set. As long as you get them opening hand, Royal Tribute, they're going to be stunned for the rest of the game. Because once Necro's on the field, that's field presence. You can constantly recycle Necro. But Royal Tributing, that's gonna hurt them for the whole game. Gravekeepers Stealth. I ran this in 3s and it worked really, really consistent. But there was those small times when you got those dead draws. And, I mean, dead draws can cost you a match. So you gotta stay away from that. But anyway, with this, you really want to get back. If you haven't recycled a lot already, you want to get back Recruiter. And if there's no Necro on the field, you want to get Commandant. You can get Spy, that's fine. But I tend to go for Recruiter and Commandant, because my Spies usually come up mid to late game for some reason, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Book of Moon. There's so many ways that Book saves you. It especially comes in handy when you're using Spy, actually. Because if they want a Lightning Vortex or something, this has happened to me a lot, they attack into Spy, flip it, I bring out Recruiter. They're like, okay, well, we don't want you having a field, even if you get something to hand. Lightning Vortex. Okay, Book of Moon, my Spy, I now get a +1 next turn. And thanks to Recruiter being destroyed, I get a +2. Let's see, Allure. This card has never done me wrong, but well, actually it has one time, and only one time. I had no cards in hand, drew Allure, and I was like, you know what, I'll go for it, and I got a Stell and a Necro. And I sided out one of my Necros, and they had already destroyed one of them, so I was already screwed for the rest of the game, but somehow I clutched it. Let's see. This is some of your biggest tech right here, and most people don't even understand why. A lot of the build side decks this, but I main deck it. It's absolutely amazing to run in the main deck. Just MST. You start off with an MST and you go second, you're set. If something that I've always noticed, you start off with MST, you want to set it. You don't want to wait on MST. You set it right away. They go to set a couple cards from their hand, second one or first one, you MST it. Depending on how fast they play, you can go with their tempo, because you understand. Dark Hole, I mean, that card is... Even if you have cards on the field, Dark Hole, you should use it, because it's just one of those. Onto the traps for the main deck. Comp-Evac, that's self-explanatory. All the rest are basically self-explanatory. I mean, and the Solemn Warnings instead of Dark Bribe and 7 Tools, I don't really like. Personally, I would run 2 Dark Bribes instead of Dark Bribe and 7 Tools, but my 7 Tools is hollow, and 7 Tools is really good, because it's just 7 Tools. For monsters in my side deck, I usually side in this every game, or every match, at least once, because of just how amazing this is. I was playtesting siding in a third Necro and maining only 2, but Malefic Stardust is truly amazing. Cyber Dragon doesn't really show much play, but he still comes in when I know what I'm facing right off the bat. Smashing, those come in especially when I'm facing Black Wings and Glads, actually. they stop all their crap. Just, what are you doing? Nothing. They're good against Sams too. I mean, Mind Control, that's for when I'm going against plants and quick draw dandies. Noblemans, I'm sad only one of them is hollow. Second one isn't. Yeah, that's kind of self-explanatory. You just side it in when your opponent sees what you're running and they start getting really defensive first game. Swallow Split, that's going against Savers. I tend to run it. I side it in when I'm facing quick draws because of the Black Rose. I don't like any of their crap. Steam Swing Wind Blast, that's a really good card when you're facing Monarchs, because they Treeborn Frog, okay, I'm going to put that on top of your deck. They go to resummon a Glow Up Bulb, put it on top of their deck. They now have a dead draw. Light Impersonating Mirror, I don't like fairies or light swarms, and yes, fairies, I don't care what anyone says, they're actually kind of challenging. They're good to go against. Pulling the Rug, that's a Monarch card right there. Monarch and a half. Well, I mean, Monarch or Sabers. I don't face Sabers too much, but, you know. Vine Wrath, that's good to side in depending on what decks. Goes in match. I really like to side this in when I face Psychics, for one, which, my teammate, Dylan Emden, he has a thing, but no videos. He hates it. He truly hates it. It just ruins Psychics and quick draws. But anyway, Starlight Road. I side this in when I know I'm facing someone who is going to start destroying like crazy, or can blow up the field. Yeah, Icarus Attack. This kind of just says no Icarus Attack, and I'm getting a +1. But anyway, that's my how to run this deck with the build that I have. It's all kind of self-explanatory once you start running it. And by the way, now that this is my final episode and it's all said and done, and now that you've sat through a 13-minute video, this deck is for trade. Maybe not all the staples and stuff, but I have this and I have a second one of it, so hit me up, and it's definitely for trade or sale. Comment, rate, subscribe, and thanks for watching, YouTube. Later.